Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling Huddle. I'm Review Sports Editor Mike Brown, joined by the grappling guru, Bob Steer. Bob, we're coming off Top Gun. That was a lot of fun last week, and especially for the area teams. They did so well.
It really was. It's always a blast covering the Top Gun, mainly because you just, as we discussed last week, so many teams coming in from different areas, and you see different styles of wrestling, different levels of kids, and it's just a lot of fun to cover, but it's especially fun when the local teams perform the way they did.
Right, and 3 NBC teams finish in the top 10 of 48 teams at Top Gun. That's impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is, and honestly, a bit of a surprise. I think... I think even the most optimistic of NBC fans would have to admit that all 3 of them being in the top 10 of that tournament was a bit of a surprise. But I think we all knew they had the ability to be up there, no question.
And of course, we're talking about West Branch, Marlington, and Carrollton, who all have quality programs and did very well at Top Gun. All had place winners, and West Branch had a champion, and Ian Sharp. What a great performance by him.
Yep, he definitely rose to the occasion, and it was a great run by Ian. Really dominant. I mean, pinning in the finals. He only had one match that wasn't a pin.
Right.
So he really stepped up, had a fantastic tournament, and the whole West Branch team. I mean, finishing in the top 5, they actually got a trophy.
Got a trophy
for being a top 5 team, and I know that surprised some people to see them finish ahead of Marlington and Carrollton. As we look ahead, I guess you have to be cautious not to automatically assume because they finished ahead of them that they're going to go beat Carrollton or anything else, because tournaments are a little different than duels.
Sure, yeah.
But I will say the West Branch, some of the guys have really stepped up from where they were earlier in the year, and it showed at Top Gun.
Right. Were there any surprises at Top Gun? I mean, we were talking about the area teams doing well, but anything that you didn't foresee going in that maybe happened at Top Gun?
I think all the local kids wrestled to where I thought they could for the most part. I mean, Ian Sharp was a surprise. Absolutely. I mean, he's a sophomore. He'd had a very good year going in, but to win heavyweight as a sophomore is probably the biggest surprise. But you look at the other top guys. I mean, Rupert was in the finals. And you knew he had a chance at that. Hartshorn third. As far as some of the top guys, the West Branch guys that placed. Adam Wilkie did a really nice job. He had a really nice tournament. But Mason Hughes, you expect him to be on the podium. He was. I already mentioned Hartshorn, so Spencer Nagy getting on the podium was no surprise at all. So, and of course Brennan Joseph. So all those guys did, at least what you'd expect. Some of them I'm sure expected a little more. But the ones who made the podium, there weren't any shockers as far as guys that made the podium.
Yeah, and the nice thing, Top Gun's usually a pretty good measuring stick for later in the season when these guys get in a postseason tournament, and you figure if you do well at Top Gun, and it's not a guarantee, but usually it's a pretty good barometer. If you do well at Top Gun, you're going to do well at the state tournament. So that's nice to see. We had so many guys placing so high.
Yep, and I did leave out one name, Sean Barnes from Alliance.
Great. Came back and got third place, I believe.
He would be in that surprise category along with Ian Sharp at the heavyweight class. I mean, I think that was a really nice tournament for him and could be a big stepping stone for him. And of course, West Branch and Alliance are going to be wrestling here coming up, and they're in the same sectional in the same district. So I think Mr. Barnes and Mr. Sharp are going to be seeing a lot of each other.
That would be a great matchup. Great matchup. Well, let's turn the clock ahead to this week, and my goodness, when you look down before the season would start and you point to certain matches during the season, this is one of those weeks, and this is one of those matches when you have Thursday night, got the West Branch Warriors, I believe it's a 7 or 8 time NBC defending champion going to Carrollton, who's probably, along with Marlington, I would think the preseason pick to win the league. And you've got a great matchup on Thursday night, I would think.
Definitely. There were 3 matches coming into the season. The season opener, West Branch Marlington. Then you have, throw Carrollton in there, West Branch Carrollton. And then February 12th, we're going to have Carrollton Marlington. Those are the 3 big matchups. So, this is Carrollton West Branch week. Honestly, in the past few weeks, I've said on paper Carrollton probably was a slight favorite. After watching Top Gun this weekend, I mean, I think it's possible for West Branch to win every match between 106 and 138. I can see Hughes pinned the Carrollton kid head-to-head at 170 at Top Gun. Dylan Miller pulled a big surprise at 132,
that was a good win.
Beating Adam Shaw. So if those results can hold, if West Branch, and I'm saying West Branch has to wrestle their best, but if they do, I really think they would be the favorite.
Is that right?
In that match,
That's interesting.
If they wrestle like they
Right.
did at Top Gun and maybe
Yeah.
even take another step up,
Yeah.
at best it's a toss up.
How about that? Should be a great match to watch.
When I see it on paper now, you flip that 132 result. I'm seeing where West Branch could take 8 or 9 of the 14 matches.
Is that right? That well, it should be a
Really do.
great one to watch in down at Carrollton on Thursday night, down at the Black Hole.
Yep.
And I'm sure that place will be packed, and there'll be fans from both communities, and it should be a great atmosphere for high school wrestling.
It'll be very exciting.
Yeah.
It should be packed wall to wall like it was at Marlington.
Sure.
And those are the fun matches.
Absolutely. Well, we have a couple other matches on Thursday night too. We've got Marlington going to Salem. The Dukes and the Quakers are going to have a go at it on Thursday night. How do you see that one, Bob?
Marlington should win, definitely. There's a couple individual matchups that could happen depending on where the coaches send them out. But
Yeah.
Brennan Joseph could be matched up against the Kellogg from Salem, and
Yeah.
he's a good wrestler. I remember him from last year. Did some nice things. So and Cade Byland and Tony Rupert.
Oh, sure.
I think could be a fun match to watch.
Right.
But other than that, I think Marlington should
The heavy favorite in that one.
a heavy favorite.
Right. Then also on Thursday night, we have the Alliance Aviators. They're going to be home to the Canton South Wildcats on NBC. And again, we talked about Coach Shaw's done a great job with Alliance, and I would think Alliance would be a pretty solid favorite in that match come Thursday night.
I would say so. Not quite as heavy a favorite as Marlington would be at Salem, but I would definitely give a strong edge to Alliance in that match. And again, a couple potential really intriguing matches would be Austin Ness from Canton South. He's around that 145-52 range. If he gets matched up with a Spencer Nagy, that could be a thriller. It could be a real exciting match. And Deuce Johnson, the exciting freshman for Alliance.
Good one.
Canton South has a very good sophomore, Cord Moore. So seeing those two go at each other would be a lot of fun because they're both very physical wrestlers. So that would be a battle if those two do
Could
get
be
matched up.
a brawl there.
Absolutely, but yeah, as far as the team goes, I'm certainly expecting Alliance to come out with a win and move to I believe 3-1 on the season in the NBC.
Yeah, well, it should be a fun week as always, and the review will be covering all three of those matches we talked about on Thursday night, and hopefully we'll see you out at a match. But for right now, this is Mike Brown for Bob Steer. We'll see you on the mat.